Hey, welcome to Tea with Tasha. Thanks for joining me. I know it's been a little while. Life has been lifing. And with all the recent developments in the world, it just took me a little minute to get myself together. I just celebrated 25 years at my salon this weekend, so I'm very excited, happy, and proud about that to have been in the same location for the last 25 years. And I want to say thank you to all my clients who came out and all my clients that have supported me over the years, friends and family. It is just such a blessing, such a blessing. I have wonderful, wonderful people in my life, and I'm so grateful for them. So I wanted to get into another edition. I wanted to start with kind of doing a marriage one-on-one information. So if you're newly married, welcome. Congratulations. I hope that your wedding, courtship, experience, love story was everything that you would have wanted it to be. I hope that your wedding was amazing, that you all enjoyed yourselves, whether it be with a few people or a bunch of people, people that loved you and supported you. I hope your makeup was on point. I hope your dress was beautiful. I hope you got everything that you could have ever wanted. I really do hope that it was all that you had dreamed of and more. I hope your honeymoon was awesome. Hope you went somewhere and had a good time and just had a time to connect with just you and him or you and your family. I really do hope that you had a good experience getting here. So now that you are here, I just kind of wanted to give some basic kind of ground rules for settling into your new life together. Hopefully it's blissful, you getting along well and just having a really good time. But just like when you're dating, as you combine your lives together, it's really important to start setting boundaries and expectations now, especially now. I know that I talked about when you're dating, it's going to be plenty enough time to be in love. And now is the time to be in love, but it's also the time to set clear expectations and boundaries because if not, you will end up in a place of frustration when things compound. What you allow will continue and grow. So we want to make sure that we are setting clear expectations because as women, we have expectations and men do too. And I'm sure your husband will communicate with you what he expects and what he wants. And also make sure that you are actively trying to learn your husband. Sometimes men don't communicate as well. So look at his behavior, his body language, his patterns, study him, see what makes him tick, because that is your husband, and no one needs to know him better than you. You need to really get to know your own husband so that you can know how he operates. When you get married, and you move in and you start combining your lives together, you really do need to set some clear expectations on just the basic division of labor. Because if not, you may find yourself doing everything, or he may find himself doing everything. Either way, somebody's going to get frustrated sooner or later. So, who's going to do the cooking? Who's going to do the shopping, the cleaning, the washing, the house maintenance? Who's going to change the air filter on the furnace? It's a lot that comes with it, and you should talk about those things. Talk about those things in detail and how often those things are going to be done. Because if not, you're going to be frustrated with how your house is, and how things are going. And I think that you should have the cleanest and tidiest of homes, period. Because a chaotic environment is going to produce chaos. It's just going to produce chaos. But if you have a clean, neat environment, it's going to produce more peace and a more calm environment than you coming home and everything is everywhere. That's going to grow frustrating. Like say, I think I might have told this story before, but like say I came home one day and my expectation is that the kitchen is clean when I come home, especially if I've worked all day. If I come home and the kitchen is not clean, it's going to be some smoke because it's just something that I cannot tolerate. And when I was first married, I know I came home, the kitchen was a mess. So I came, greeted my husband, and I might have said, I think I might have said why the kitchen wasn't clean or something. I don't even know if I said anything. I think I just went upstairs and pulled all the kids out their room and said, hey, the kitchen is not clean and that is unacceptable. Everybody has their part to play in keeping the house together. And so they were cleaning and fussing, and my husband came up and said, why didn't you say something? And I said, I don't know. I just hadn't even thought about it, but you could have at least directed the kids to do it. Like, this is important to me. And so, because we had not really talked about all the details of everything. And sometimes, you don't know what your triggers are. Everybody don't know you that well. And so you have to communicate those things. But, when things happen and things haven't been communicated, you have to kind of just do the best you can. But I can say that he learned and it never happened again. He understood that, hey, this is what is important to her. Just like with him, what's important to him is his things. And he has all these records and all these things. And I think one day I was trying to straighten up and I like touched some of them and put them somewhere. And I could see like that he was frustrated. And I was like, oh, wow. Warning, don't do that again. Like, you just never know where people are in life and what has happened to them. So you just have to be so cautious. And when you're newly married, and if this is your first time, living with this person, it's going to be some growing pains. One thing I would say is make your bed every day. It sounds simple. I remember my grandmother came. She was in Mississippi and she came and stayed with me and my mom when she was older. And I think I was like 20, 21. And so I had like a basement apartment in my mom's house because I didn't want to leave my mom because my dad had died and I just want to leave her by herself. So I like renovated the basement and it was like a nice 2-bedroom apartment. So, I was comfortable, had my own space. So my grandmother was like, baby, like your place is so nice. And like, why don't you make your bed? Like, you should make your bed. And I was like, wow, okay. And so after that, I literally had to make my bed every day because if not, I would hear my grandmother's voice in my head saying, baby, why don't you make your bed? Like, I would feel guilty. And like, if I don't make the bed, it feel like your day don't go right. Like, it's just chaotic. Like, oh my goodness. And then I would always just remember, like, you have a nice space. And usually women, we have nice, comfortable beds. We have paid lots of money, 42 pillows, throw pillows, all that. Make your bed. Like, that is our haven. And it makes your room look clean. When you make your bed, clear the clutter off your dresser, take care of your space because whatever God has blessed you with, if you want more, you're going to have to take care of what you have. You cannot be ruler over much if you can't be ruler over a little bit. So make your bed. Like I said, make an effort to keep things tidy because it's just going to get out of hand. Take a few minutes every day to put away the dishes or whatever it is, to just do those small things because it's going to accumulate and then you're going to have to spend so much time trying to get things together. And if you can afford to get a housekeeper, if you've gotten married and you have combined income, you likely have some disposable income. The best thing that you can do is get you a housekeeper because if nothing else, to clean your bathrooms and like keep your kitchen like deep cleaned because it takes so much time. And you think about like, say if you make X amount of dollars, say together you all make $175,000. Think about what your time is worth. So let's say your time is worth, $85 an hour. Why would you spend 2 hours on something you could pay somebody to do for a fraction of the cost? Like, you have to know what you're worth and what your time is because that's the one thing that we cannot get back. So if you make X amount of dollars and you can afford a housekeeper, and for the most part, they should not be that expensive. But if you have them come in and clean your bathrooms and mostly like your toilets, your shower, because those things can take a lot of time to clean. I mean, with these glass shower doors, oh my goodness. Like, I'm on TikTok trying to find the best hydrogen peroxide mix to get it together. The spray that you got to spray on afterwards. Like, it is a lot to clean a shower. And I have, 4 bathrooms to clean. And just imagine, like, I have to tie my hair up because you got to get in the shower to clean the shower. So you're going to get in the shower to clean the shower. Your hair probably going to get messed up. You're going to be sweating. You're going to get wet because how else can you clean the shower? You got to go through all these steps to clean the shower door inside and out times three. I have 3 showers to clean. Okay. So this is why we were her housekeeper, just to keep the bathrooms clean and just to sweep and mop like the kitchen area, the floor. Like every time I go to pick up the mop, I just get irritated. Like, oh my God, I got to do this again. I mean, it's just what it is, what it is. And you want to keep a clean house, but you think about it, if you just set aside that money, you could be spending time with your husband. Y'all could be going out. Y'all could be doing something else more valuable with your time than cleaning bathrooms and showers because it's just going to be a lot. And when you, as a young woman, older woman, think about the house that you want and think about what that's going to take to keep clean. So think about what it's going to take to keep the bathrooms clean because, you know, you're going to want your house clean. Houses are expensive and you don't want to pay all this money and have a house and there's crap everywhere and, you know, shower scum and all this other kind of stuff. Like it's a lot to keep a house clean. That's why you should pick well. Pick well because and you want to make sure you pick someone that's willing to help you with those responsibilities because we all live here together. So let's keep this house nice and clean and orderly because it's a nice environment. I know my house is very peaceful. You know, people will come over and say my house is clean and I'll say it's not clean to my expectations, but it is what it is. I'm working on it. Like my expectations with just having my stuff in order is just, man, I'm a very organized person and that's what I desire. And I remember when we first got married, like literally we just got married. I mean, we just got married and just kind of we needed each other and we just kind of jumped in and it was a wonderful experience. But like we were in the middle of construction and it was tough. It was really tough. Like when he moved in with all his things, I just kind of looked around like, wow. So the house is going to be in a bit of disarray for the foreseeable future. For the foreseeable future. And it was. And that was difficult for me to deal with because I was used to everything being in a certain area, in a certain space, but it just wasn't that way. And we had to grow to, you know, accept everybody's things and where they were going to go and how things were going to be placed and, you know, just what your expectations were. And so it took some time and, you know, it came together and it will. And that's just part of the growing pains of being newly married. It's going to be some experiences. If you, like I say, if you try to do everything yourself, you're either gonna be exhausted and or resentful. And you don't want either of those things. You know, as women, you have to manage your energy. You know how much gas you have in your tank, and you can't burn yourself out doing things that could be alleviated. Like I had to learn, I like to cook. I cook often, but I had to learn to like cook in one day, like meal prep in one day, and then relax. Because every time you cook, it's cleaning the kitchen at the same time, it's cooking, it's time, it's groceries, it's over and over and over and over. And so it can just really get to be exhausting. And so I don't want to spend all of my time doing one thing and then I'm neglecting the other things. Like I had to learn a balance because, you know, I went from a family of, how many was it? 3, 4 to 6. And that was a big jump. I mean, it just was rough. I just, the amount of groceries I had to buy because I don't like eating takeout. I don't like feeding my family takeout. But I had to learn takeout is going to be what it is sometimes. But I also learned to make smaller, less extravagant meals, like just pretty much a meat and a vegetable. Maybe some rice, for the kids, but just something simple just to, have something, variety every day. But like say, Thanksgiving is coming up and so I have to prepare for that. I have to prepare for, I'm not going to be able to cook for a week because I got to cook for a week for Thanksgiving. They're literally like 2 days. I cook one day and I bake one day. But I made a few things. Yesterday I kind of did my meal prep, made some tuna, some sandwiches, put some stuff in the refrigerator so that they can just pull from that so I can focus on Thanksgiving and that kind of thing. So it's a lot of responsibilities with being a wife and you want to operate your home and run your house in a efficient way. And it's going to take time to adjust to that. It's going to take time to adjust to being in another person's you being in their space and them being like sharing space, I should say. Um, if something comes up that frustrates you, let it out. Say what it is. And I'm guilty of not always saying what it is because I assume the other person knows, or sometimes, if your feelings are hurt, you're in a space where you're vulnerable. You don't really want to say nothing. Some people are not like that. Like my niece, oh, she gonna say it. She gonna say it right away. Say it right away. And I admire that about her because she's very clear about her boundaries, and that it works. It definitely works because you're gonna have less frustration later if you set clear boundaries now. But if something comes up and if it bothers you, like my one girlfriend's grandmother told her, if it comes up, let it come out. If it comes up, you can feel that, like it's almost like a ruffling of your feathers. If something comes up and you just say, "Ooh, that didn't feel right," let me say something. And sometimes it takes time to process what you're feeling, and that's okay. Take your time to process because it can be overwhelming and your life is changing and you might not even fully understand why it bothered you, why it triggered you. But take your time and you'll get there. You'll get there. But if it comes up and it bothers you, say something. Like something as simple as, like I say, women usually have a lot of pillows on their beds. And say you come home and he put the pillows on the floor. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he put the pillows on the floor. Then you have to kind of show him, tell him, hey, these are where these pillows go. Most people should have like a chair or a bench or something in your room to put those pillows on, because I know every woman I know has lots of decorative pillows and it makes the room look nice. But you have to, say, hey, these are where the pillows go. This is where this goes, because as women, we have a lot of different, nuances about us and how we want our homes to be. And it's okay, but you have to kind of grow and develop that space together. Um, when I talked about preserving your energy, you preserve your energy because if you don't, your intimacy is going to be affected. So you don't want to have to cook and clean and wash so much that when it comes time to be intimate in the bedroom, you exhausted and you are not enthusiastic and you tired and you trying to get out of it. Like, do not develop those habits. Like I used to burn and do, but I don't. I stopped. I realized that I only have so much energy and I am not going to exhaust myself. I literally had to say to myself, girl, it is going to be there tomorrow. Like it is going to be there tomorrow. You do not have to do everything today, but like that's why I would say get a housekeeper, because it's nothing better than having your whole house clean at the same time. Like the whole house clean. Like, especially if the kids are at school and everything's clean, like I would just burn a candle and look around and just like, oh my goodness, like it is just a special thing for me. Like I would, when my kids would come home, I didn't even want them to touch anything because I just wanted the house to stay clean, and it's a wonderful experience. And so you don't want to be so tired that you're trying to keep everything together that you can't, enjoy your husband at the end of the night. Because it's important, because then he's going to feel like he's not a priority and he's not important, and this wasn't how it was when we was dating, and you was happier and this and the third, and like this is what it is. If you want an enthusiastic wife at the end of the night, help support her during the day, period. Whether it be help with the baby, help with the kids, help with the house, support her, help with, saying, hey, I got everything. Go to the gym and, take you some me time. Go do something for yourself so that you can be relaxed and happy and enjoy your husband. You don't want to get to a place where you're so exhausted all the time that you can't, enjoy your intimacy. Like, this is what marriage is made for. You want to have sex and you want to be enthusiastic about it and you want to enjoy yourself, but you can't do that if you're so overwhelmed during the day and if you're frustrated during the day, if things aren't being done and you're irritated and you're having to repeat yourself. Like it's just going to irritate you. So speak up and set clear boundaries now. So especially with your time, your energy, your responsibilities. And that goes for also if you are living with someone. So say you and your boyfriend decide to move in together. My warning is do not move in if marriage is not a clear goal and expectation. Sometimes we move in because we have to condense incomes and households to get income to pay for the ring and the wedding and all the stuff coming up because it is expensive. But I would not suggest moving in if marriage is not a clear expectation. If he hasn't clearly expressed that he wants you to be his wife, do not just move in to just be moving in, because 9 times out of 10, if he's getting all of this without marrying you, he is not going to be pressed at all to marry you. And marriage does matter. And I would also say that don't give things to your husband or things to men that are not your husband. Do not give special things to men that are not your husband. Like if you want a husband, save some space in your life for him. Save some things for him. Save something for him, something special that everybody does not get. Everybody does not get. You are not going to get to live with me and experience me being a wife, and you're not my husband, and not a clear pathway to being my husband. Save something special for your husband. Wherever he is on this earth, he desires you, wants you, is looking for you too, wants a good life for you. So save some things. Don't be in a hurry to move in with me and that's not your husband. It is not a vibe, because you're going to get stuck in a place if you don't have a clear goal and expectation of marriage, that you're going to get stuck and you're going to just be living together. And he's still going to be trying to figure things out. No, because usually when you get into a relationship and you start living together, you're going to fall into a wife role, and he may still be in the boyfriend role. Clearly he is, because he's not being a husband. He's not marrying you. And marriage is valuable. Don't think that it's not. And set your expectations, because you do not want to get caught, because men will, if they can get you to that point, they will put you there, and you can do this for years. They will do this for years. And I'm talking 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years. 20 years. Like, don't do it. Set a clear expectation. And you do not need to necessarily live with somebody to really know them. If you spend enough time with them in their place where they live, you can figure out who they are. You can figure out, what kind of person that they are. And you can figure out if they're a slob. If you got a key to his place, see how he keeps his things, and don't jump in trying to help clean it. How he keeps it is how he is. And if he doesn't adapt to trying to say, if you say, hey, babe, you should do this. And he should, listen when you say something, because if you're going to build a life together, this is what it's going to be. I remember when I was dating my husband, and he's really into like horror movies, and he had lots of different trinkets, and he had like this bat that was hanging from the ceiling. And I was like, and it was in his room, and I was like, oh my God, like, where is this bat going to go? Like, because it was clear that, he would move in with me and that we would build a life with each other. But I just was so concerned about, oh my God, where is this bag going to go? Like, am I going to have to look at this bag? And so I would just kind of be freaked out. And he like took it down. And then like when we did move in, like, I don't even know where the bat is. Like, I looked around and I said, oh my God. But something so crazy that I was so concerned about, like, but I don't know. I think it's in story somewhere. Like when we finally got the construction done and put everything back, the bat never came. It was like disco balls and stuff. So, it's when you're building a life together, look at everything. Look at everything, because everything is going to matter. Like I say, it's always going to get greater later. And things are going to, you may not know how it's going to impact you, but it's going to impact you. How they keep their home, if they keep the bathroom clean, if it's dishes in the sink, like, it's going to impact you. And so you have to kind of blend those personalities and those just personal habits so that both people are happy. You don't want to micromanage somebody. Like, I know when I have people over, if you lay your cup down long, it's gone. It's gone. It's washed. It's clean. It's on the dish rack. Like, that's why I say, well, I use it when people come over, I have a marker and they can write on their glass. Because if you don't write on your glass and if you don't tend to your glass, you can rest assured that I have washed it, put it away and it's gone because I'm just so want everything to be in order. So those are things that you just have to, talk about and deal with when if you do move in with somebody, whatever you expect from a husband, expect from him right then. Right then. Whenever you move in, that is the expectation because anything less is going to be difficult in the end. So if you move in and you don't set some expectations as far as what you want from your husband, then he's going to continue to function in boyfriend mode. He's going to continue to function the way he's been functioning. And so you're going to think that marriage is going to change his behavior, and it's not. Marriage will be a date on a calendar. It will be an event he went to, but he will come home from the honeymoon or come home from the hotel, and he will behave exactly how he behaved beforehand. He will behave exactly how he behaved beforehand. Marriage is not some magical destination. Marriage is not some place that you go to happily ever after. No, marriages are cultivated and marriages are formed. And so if you allow, because, that's why, how in tradition and the way that God would have it is that you meet, you date, you come together as both as virgins and you create a life from there. Because that's the natural normal progress. And so one of the reasons why I know people, that's old school or old fashioned, but one of the reasons why is that because when you cultivate a relationship, and so if you allow some time to pass before you become intimate, it's going to be a much better connection, a deeper bond, a better intimacy. If you allow that person to cultivate all those things and then you get married, usually when you become intimate, that the sex is going to be amazing, and it's the high of that is going to last. It is meant to last like 18 months. That's how it's supposed to go. So if you come together and say you get married, come together, all of those bumps and bruises and growing pains and all of that's why the sex is supposed to start at the beginning, because the sex will keep you connected, keep you coming back to one another, and it will be like it relieves the pressure. Because moving in together, think about it, if you was young, you moved in, you ain't never lived with nobody, this is going to be a whole new life experience. But that intimacy will carry you through. By the time it kind of settles down in a bit, like, just it settles. And it's still going to be good, but it settles. You will have gotten through the worst of it. So that's why, the tradition is to marry as a virgin, because that's what it's for, literally. That's what it's for. And so if you've gone through all this, like we putting all these, things in place in backwards order, that's why you might not be having the experience that you're having. You should wait as long as you need to before you become intimate. And then it shouldn't be like, you should be on a pathway to marriage, because you still need that built-in honeymoon phase for a reason. It's for a reason. And so if you have allowed him to function as a boyfriend, then you almost going to be kind of going through it with no lube in a way, because you're not going to have anything that's going to keep you coming back together. Like, that's what sex is for. It's to keep you coming back to one another. You could have a fight, get upset, but if you intimate, and you shouldn't always be having makeup sex, because that's like makeup flowers. You don't want for you to train yourself and your body to only sex is good when we fight. That's not a good habit to establish. Sex should be good because it's good and that's your husband. It shouldn't be good because we fight, because that's a toxic habit to attach to something so beautiful. Like, if you fighting, you should let that fight go, talk it out, do what you got to do, rehash it, whatever you got to do to get past it. and then come back and be intimate, but you don't want to have like that whole makeup sex thing where you're not really talking it through, because all you're doing is putting a band-aid on it. You done had sex, you feel better about your life, but that problem or whatever that conflict was is still there and you didn't resolve it. Resolve the conflict first so that you can be clear on, hey, how did I fail? How did you fail? How can we fail better forward? How can we do this better with each other? Like, we want to make sure that, we are resolving conflict in a healthy way. That was a lot. So I try to keep the videos about 30 minutes, so I'm going to just continue from this topic. But like I say, I am so appreciative for everyone who supports, likes, shares, everything. The positive feedback I get from everyone, I am so grateful. But until we meet again, I hope you have enjoyed this Tea with Tasha. Talk to you soon.